Good morning. It's
Good
the
morning.
Going On Daily Morning Show. We are live, and today season 3, episode 92. Happy Little Trees. How are you doing this morning, JJ?
I'm great. How are you, Kyle? It's been a while since
I
we've
know.
seen each other.
I know. Yeah. It's definitely
You've
been
been
a
on the
minute.
road.
Yeah, I did. I went on the road a little bit, and that was it's been interesting and kind of fun, and lots of emotional stuff to work through
Oh,
too, which has been amazing. I love the struggles a little bit because road to Phoenix.
right.
No, I went to Denver. I went to
How
Denver.
far is that from where you?
Um, well, in a semi, it's I don't know, 10 hours probably.
Okay.
Um, so it kind of depends, but yeah, 9 or 10 hours. So
It's not bad. Not
yeah,
bad.
no, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's all the other stuff that goes along with with the driving part that makes it
You mean
less
the
fun.
other people around you that you're like road
Oh
rage, or
no.
you have to sit with yourself for 9 to 10 hours?
Oh no, I love that part. Yeah,
Okay.
that part's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's because the life coach is on
Life
the way.
coach is on the way. That's right.
Uh, no, it's when they're like, "Oh, well, sorry, you can't pick up in this until this time,"
Oh,
or "You can't drop off until this time," or whatever.
the
So those,
logistics of it
yeah.
all.
Yeah. Because all of the rest of the parts of it, I'm like, yeah, that's no big deal. But yeah, so anyway, well, jumping right in. So celebrity
Oh,
trees.
yes. Doesn't everybody know about celebrity trees?
I I did not know. I was like, huh, this must be, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, huh.
So there are some, celebrity trees. Actually, one of the biggest one is in South Carolina, which where we are. But in
Okay.
Johns Island, South Carolina, it is the angel oak tree.
Oh,
It is 500 years old, and it is like this massive live southern oak tree, and
huh,
it's a local icon. Johns Island is right outside of Charleston,
okay.
um, but the branches cover 17,000 square feet. I mean, it is like a massive,
That is
massive.
I don't even know. Wow.
So
Yeah.
it spans, basically bigger than probably a wider than a house that a
Yeah.
typical. But people come from all over to take pictures of the tree because, with the Spanish moss that hangs down, and I mean, it's like it's an
Mhm.
iconic
Uh-huh.
tree.
Uh-huh.
Um, the other celebrity tree is General Sherman in the Sequoia National Park in California.
Oh. Oh.
It's the largest tree in the world by volume.
Oh.
The giant sequoia is between, they said it's 2,300 to possibly 2,300 to 2,700 years old. So almost 3,000 years old.
Wow.
But it's the one that everyone, stands next, it's that ginormous tree when people go to the
Uh-huh.
Sequoia National Forest, and you see it's like you look like a ant.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
yeah, General Sherman
Wow.
is
Wow.
the name of that tree. Um, and there's one that's again another neighbor. It's called the tree that owns itself. That's in
Mm,
Athens, Georgia, which is about 2 hours from me. But
okay.
it's a white oak that, according to the local legend, was deeded to itself to ensure its lifelong protection. So the
Oh.
local community deeded itself, so it is known as the tree that owns itself. And it's the only tree that is deeded to itself like that.
That's so awesome.
And then there's the major oak that's in the Sherwood Forest in the UK. And legend says that this hollow tree was the hideout for Robin Hood.
Oh,
So it's the legendary Robin Hood tree in the Sherwood Forest called Major Oak.
wow.
Oh, Ron, I figured you guys would have covered some of this. And then one of the last like really big celebrity tree is the Survivor tree in New York City, and it's a Callery pear tree that was discovered alive amidst all the rubble of the World Trade Center.
Oh, wow.
It was
Okay.
like at the World Trade
Huh.
Center, like in the atrium garden.
Yeah,
It was after they cleared all the rubble, it was still alive.
that's wild.
And now they replanted it at the 9/11 memorial.
Oh, okay.
So and so they named it the Survivor tree. So
Huh.
yeah.
I wonder how big is that one? Is
I
it?
don't know. Pear trees don't get that big.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
I mean, it's like you know.
Yeah, they replanted it. So, but that's wild to.
And it was buried in the bottom of all that rubble. Yeah, and still alive. Yeah. So I have only seen 2 of the trees. So I'll need to. I've seen the Survivor tree, and then we saw the Angel Oak. But I'll need to go through my the celebrity list.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen any of them.
Have you not been over to the Sequoia?
I haven't. No.
Yeah,
no.
We haven't gone to the one like we went to part of the sequoias that are attached to Yosemite.
Oh, okay.
Which that was a crazy story. So we went there to see Yosemite in February for President's Day, thinking, hey, it's California, but Yosemite was under, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet of snow and ice. And we were like, let's go and hike to go see the Sequoia Forest. And we start, so it was my husband and I, we had our 2 small, like at the time, 2 of our kids. The other 2 hadn't come around yet, but we start traipsing up the a mile and a half into kind of the Sequoia Forest area. And we didn't realize how deep we were. But we were walking up and I was like, why do they just have like huts? Well, that's where the snowbank was. It was just the roofs to all like the little ice cream shops, and the little snack shops that you could only see like the part of the window. But yeah, we were basically walking by the roofs. And then it was getting towards like dusk, like 5, 6 o'clock. And we see all these like posters on the tree of warning, do not be out here at dusk, protect your small children, nobody be out here because of mountain lions. And they're like, and we're going, the sun's going down. We have a 1.5-mile trek. Took us an hour and a half to walk up to the trail. I think it took us less than 30 minutes we were like running down. It was like said to wear your coats out big and make lots of noise. Like but we were slip sliding down the trail, but literally it took like no more than 30 minutes to get the hell out of there. But yeah, our kids were, what's happening?
Oh, that's
we're like, we gotta go.
Wow. So was it like a cross country skiing trail?
No, it was just like a roadway trail that had been, that obviously the National Forest could take their
cat,
their SUVs and stuff like that to go up there. So it was like a plowed. Yeah, I mean, it was like the road, but we didn't realize it was literally packed 4 feet of ice 4 or 5
So
feet of ice.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll bet they ran a snowcat on it.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
was crazy.
that's what I'm thinking.
Um,
They'll
but
do.
the trees were amazing. I mean, it was just like
Yeah.
you could walk through them. You could, just nature of how like Yosemite is one of those. It's like it was breathtaking. Of like the mountainsides, the waterfalls was just you just felt so small. But everything was wondrous. Like everything was just, how is this growing here? How am I here next to these just nature beings? It was incredible. So if you haven't been to Yosemite,
Yeah, I haven't.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll definitely. It's on my list. I'm like, I need to. I mean, I
hit that bucket list.
yeah, like I work remote, so I should do some more trips probably.
Yeah.
Get out and venture. And I've been around, a lot of the areas. I mean, I just really haven't been into California. I mean, I've been into California, but not a lot, and not to
Not the
explore.
parks and the
Yeah. Lots in Oregon and Washington and
I haven't been to
Idaho,
Oregon, and that's on my. I want to go visit there. Yeah. Needs to be done. Washington is beautiful. All the little islands around, and my sister and my mom live there, so I get to go up there a couple times a year, and it's so much nature, like so many things to do nature wise. Like you don't get bored. There's like, what hike are we doing? What island are we going to explore? Where do we need to go? Today.
Yeah, beautiful. Do they live out in the Seattle area?
They live in Tacoma, and they're they're about not even a mile from one of the bays, the ferry bays. My brother-in-law, he's a conservatist for Washington. He's a consultant keeping green spaces healthy. But one of his his hobby, he is a orca fanatist, but he takes pictures of orcas, and he knows he can see them by when he takes the pictures, and a lot of his pictures have been published and stuff where he knows by the tails and their markers who they are. And so he tracks several of them when they come into the bay. But he goes down there, and he just does a lot of like natural pictures, but especially I think he has photographed almost every orca that has come up into the Tacoma, Seattle area. And he has like the tracker. He pays attention to the oceanographers that that are also tracking. So it's like, he's coming in. So he'll go down and go on his little boat, troll around, and take pictures. So
that's super cool.
Super
cool.
Have you been? So you haven't been to Washington?
Oh yeah. I've been all over Washington. Maybe not everywhere, but I've been all around Washington and Oregon and all over Idaho, and
Idaho is another one on my bucket list.
It's awesome. It's really awesome.
That's where you're from. You're from Idaho.
Yeah, I live in Southeast Idaho. I live over in Pocatello. So it's gorgeous. So many different beautiful different types of scenery, and I live in a high mountain desert. So it's interesting, but then it's like 5 minutes and you're in evergreen trees. So. Yeah.
Were you born in Idaho? Is this where your origin?
No, I was born in Wyoming, and then I lived in Montana a little bit, but I've been
You've always been in that kind of part of the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So.
Me, I'm a Southern girl. Went to the Midwest and then back to the South.
Oh.
Had to get back to the East Coast. Yeah.
Ron, what will Delaware?
Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho.
Idaho.
Alaska. Oh man. Oh, this is.
Oh, you missed the East Coast. It's awesome. Is that Hugo? That's not Hugo, is it? Or is it Hugo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, fun. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, we're gonna have to go explore some trees for sure. But what we also need to do is we need to vote. We need to vote for the Hall of Fame.
Have you voted, Kyle? I voted twice.
I don't know because I'm struggling. I don't know. So Hall of Fame, Led Zeppelin, Queen, Rolling Stones, Fleetwood Mac, or Pink Floyd. And it's a tough lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I voted twice because I couldn't decide. Queen was my first, and then I voted for Led Zeppelin because I just iconic. But all good. Like I don't even know.
Yeah. Queen or Led Zeppelin, I think for me, but I don't know. But anyway,
56%. Who's in second?
Yeah.
Ron? Who's in second?
Oh man. Oh no. He's looking. He's looking right now. You can see behind the scenes. Ron is running there. Oh, wow. Wow, that's a pretty good lead.
That is a good lead.
Pretty good lead. Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac. Oh, that's a good one too. I might have to vote a third time.
Yeah. So if you scan the QR code if you're watching, and if you're listening, you can go to Rhode-IslandBroadcasting.net and go and vote for your favorite, and we shall see. It's the battle. So yeah, super exciting. The other thing that is exciting is we're doing Uganda donations, and you probably, JJ, you probably know much more about all of this. I mean, I know quite a bit about this, but because you've been on the show with Becky more.
Yeah.
And
and the story is so emotional, and I know she gets really emotional when she talks about it. But her family did a ministry trip out there, and one of the families, she met a mom, and that was in the village, and her sons were kidnapped by a witch doctor, which who knew that still
I heard about that one. Yeah.
That's even a thing, right?
Yeah.
But took her two young boys and sacrificed them.
Yeah.
And murdered them. So, and the village that she, was in, it's just they have nothing, and this is to the money is to go to build.
We're gonna put a roof on it.
A roof.
Yeah, we're gonna put a roof on it. The roof. Yes.
On the house.
On the
So.
On the school. So
on the school. Excuse me.
Yep.
And so it's 100% of the money. Nobody makes anything on it. It is direct, and all funds go there, and our dollar goes so far. Both the U.S. dollar and the Canadian dollar. $1 it could buy them, food for a week. So, any change that you have to
makes a difference, and we're ramping up the funds so that we can get the school put together, and yes, so Hugo wants to help out as well with with ideas for fundraising. So yeah. That will be exciting, but yeah, we need the donations. So jump on and and donate. I'm watching the chat. I'm
I was
I'm
like,
juggling. I'm
Ron's like,
juggling.
I have no time.
I probably don't have enough coffee. That's
That's
okay.
it.
Today is tight. I got 5 shows today. So
Ron is the
Ron,
man today.
yeah, Ron is
Ron
the
is the
man.
man.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah. Anyway, donate whatever you can. Help out every little bit helps for sure. And
Every dollar.
yeah, every dollar, every penny, quarter and a half.
Right.
I mean, we don't do pennies anymore. I guess maybe online. We do it
Yeah.
online pennies.
We have
Other pennies. Yeah,
penny still exists.
yeah. So I got
I don't know what happened to our phrase pinching pennies.
yeah. Well, yeah, now we're really pinching pennies because I got pennies or I got a penny the other day or yesterday. Yeah.
Like
I
in a
bought
change
something.
something
Yeah,
you got some pennies?
I bought something with cash and I got a penny back. So yeah, it's now pinching pensions. Oh man. Oh
I know we'll
yeah.
have to like all of our phrases that are gonna go away,
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So seasons and roots.
Yes, I'm interested in this.
Yeah. It's I love thinking there's so much in nature. Can't put our 2 cents in. Yeah, we definitely can put our 2 cents in, but I would prefer to do it digitally, maybe potentially, because then we get to save our physical pennies because otherwise they disappear apparently, I guess, into the ether somewhere or something. I don't really know. I don't know how all that works, but yeah. So anyway, the when we look at nature, there's so many different neat correlations to mental health. Of course, is what I mainly focus on. But I love the beauty of nature as well. But when you think about trees and especially, I mean, maybe if you're, I don't know, it's got to be a little different. And I don't live in an area where it's warm all year, so I don't get to watch how the trees behave different.
Oh yeah.
And in those
Like the Midwest, people come all over to see the tree changing.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And because in most of the areas where it gets cold, they the leaves change colors and then they drop the leaves and then during the winter, then it looks like that's why I love New England. Yeah, and it's, I mean, so many. Oh, that fall is one of my favorite times. Watching all the leaves change and everything. But then they drop all the leaves, and then it looks like they're just I mean, you can't. Sometimes it's hard to tell unless you're unless you really pay attention. But it's like, is that tree still alive? Is it still because it dropped all the leaves, so it kind of is making the impression of not a live tree. And actually, just dormant, which is just part of the seasons. And I think about how many different correlations there are with our lives and the seasons that we go through. And so during the winter, then the trees they're working hard at protecting themselves and storing nutrients and getting ready for for the springtime and more more growth. And so it's interesting to watch the seasons and the cycles in life and the and the growth too, because every season for so much of nature, they're hi Danny.
Hey Danny.
Hi Kyle. Hi JJ. Good morning everyone. I'm waiting for my Lakers take on the Houston Rockets. My Lakers take the lead 2-0 in the playoffs 2026. Yes, these are like sports. It's sports ball. Sports ball? Yes.
Sports ball.
Sports ball. Yes. I'm out of the loop on all the sports things. I'm so yeah. So, but that's awesome. I love that everybody has their thing that they do, and and I think it's important, for us to do the things that we love. Watch if watching the shows or the games is your thing, then yeah, it's super awesome. But anyway, that so I think the other thing, and this was very interesting. I learned a little bit more about
Yeah.
roots, and so there are. Let's see here. Oh, now I'm reading on camera, which so there are. Let's see here. So there are the tap roots, and then there's lateral roots, and it seemed like there was another. I thought there was a third one, but depending on the plant, the tree. I mean,
Right.
specifically what we're talking about today, but they grow so much below the surface, and the tap roots go down, and they go down for getting nutrients and bringing
Right.
all the nutrients up, and then they have all the lateral roots which grow out, which then add stability and strength
Mhm.
to anchor them, and so what we don't see very often, unless somebody has a really cool graphic, which I love those, where they show the root structure below a tree,
Yeah.
and then show the canopy, because it takes a lot of growth below the surface
Yeah.
to really hold and I can't even imagine. Oh my gosh, with some of those big trees that you were talking about, like
Like
what?
how far, like
Yeah,
how deep? I mean,
yeah,
if that angel oak in St. John, I mean, it's a mass. I mean, it's one of those you're
yeah,
just like, holy crap! Of if the branches span 17,000 square feet on
yeah.
the, what
What
does
is
it look
that?
like underneath? And it,
Yeah,
and some trees have like very shallow roots, and that's what tears up your sidewalks
yeah.
because they're growing.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Oh,
There,
look at
there we
that.
go. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. Thank you, Ron. Look at that. The magician in the background. Yep.
How beautiful
So,
that is.
yeah. So, oh my gosh. I wonder, the size of the root structure
Yeah.
for that tree, because it's really incredible. And I think, it's one of those unseen things that we don't think about, we don't talk about.
Right.
And it's the same with everybody in life.
That's right.
There's so much that goes on below the surface, and it really makes a huge difference in how well we were anchored to to the earth, to our lives. um, but but I think also looking at the two different kinds of roots, which I'm missing something here. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, the tap roots, where they're bringing all the nutrients in,
Yeah.
and how deep yeah. And I don't know what the comparison is, because obviously, if it's a huge wide tree, then it's got to have some super wide roots in order
Right.
to
Deep and yeah.
yeah, yeah. But also, how deep? Because if they're what, couple hundred feet tall, then oh my gosh, yeah,
Right. They
yeah,
have to have that structure.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So to kind of play off of that, one of the things I love about trees, especially when we talk about a metaphor for life,
Mhm.
is trees are both gravitropic and they're also phototropic. So
Oh,
so they grow in both directions,
uh-huh,
in two directions equally.
uh-huh. Yeah,
So gravitropic,
yeah,
is you have to grow. You're growing towards gravity. right? You're having to break through all the soil and the dirt to find the nutrients, but at the same time, you're able to it's able to grow. It breaks through the dirt, and then it grows up towards the sun, because that's where they get their nutrients from the light. And I just love it because it's a biological, great framing, but it's a really good human framing. So nobody chooses one direction. I mean, I think that's where it's like we as humans, if we really want to sharpen ourselves, we can't just go, I need to go find the light. I need to go find, go to just the positive stuff, because you've got to commit to both digging deep, finding yourself, uncovering all the bad crap, or you're like all of that. You've got to go downward, inward, just as much as you want to go upward to stretch. You need to go and grow in both directions for you to really thrive.
Yeah. That's, I was going to say, because you're kind of touching a little bit on, I mean, we can label it however we want, but, spiritual bypass or, religious or, I mean, it's like, no, I'm good. Or I see so many people talking about trees and talking about nature, of course. There's a lot of people, they're like, no, I'm good. I don't need to see a counselor or get any help.
No, I'm fine.
I go out into nature, and that's my therapy.
Yeah.
And it's a
well,
really
you can learn from them the nature, because most, nature, the biology of plants and trees and stuff are things that we need to learn from. They don't grow unless they grow in multiple directions. Right.
Ron says, I don't need a counselor. I have Kyle and Luana.
Right, Ron.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
So that's what I always tell. Like, you can't find light in your life unless you go and do some digging, because you're not going to be able to find that strength. It doesn't come from just being in under somebody's light, seeing the light. It's got to come from the roots.
Yeah. That's I don't remember what the exact line is, but it was like you have to touch the darkness in order to really see the light.
Yeah. I always say it's like we don't just rise, we also root. Yeah. But we have to do it at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. Hugo said, don't forget to hug a tree, and then time to unplug and touch nature, and it's a real thing. I tell people, and I've been told myself, hey, by the way, go out, barefoot, go stand and touch a tree. Oh, yeah. And it is very energetically grounding.
Yeah. Well, they've always, it is interesting. I didn't really understand that phenomenon until, my parents would say that. I grew up with very hippie parents. We lived in a solar house and a wood burning house. Like, we were semi off the grid and grew our food and made, like, my mom ground her own wheat made her own bread and all that. So, but they would always go, don't go outside with shoes. Because it's healthier for you, only unless you leave the property, kind of put shoes on. And I didn't know, it's like you remember those little things much later in life, and then you're like, oh, is that why you guys would say that? It's like, just go outside in barefoot in grass and just stand, and you'll feel it. You literally feel the vibrations.
It takes us, for most of us, it takes us a few decades to go through enough life to really then learn that we probably actually need to ground ourselves. Really. Right. But anyway, lots of correlations. I love all
Wrong.
Marky Mark
feels the vibration.
feels the vibrations. Oh man, yeah. So, yeah.
Kyle, what is your best? What do you do to? What's like your routine for staying focused, staying grounded?
Journaling is a huge part of what I
Are
do.
you like a big like you're talking about when you say journaling? You're spending like you're writing full pages. Pages in a journal.
Yeah, it depends. It's the process and practice that's important to me, and that's what I tell everybody else too. So it's because when you sit down to physically write something out, it puts the brakes on your brain in so many ways, so many times, so much, because you have to think about all of the things that you're thinking about, and then you got to think about what you actually want to write. And then when you start to write, then you have to slow it all the way down to I'm going to write this word in it. And so I think it's the process and the practice of doing that which slows our mind down. And I don't think it matters, like how you journal, what you journal, how much you journal. It is more the process of sitting down to journal, I think, that is much more important than whatever it is that you write or how much you write.
Yeah, I've struggled with that for years. People would tell me, as a founder and a business owner, they're like, you need to journal because, and I was like, well, I call brain dumps.
Oh yeah.
If I get really like I just empty out, and it's usually a list of things, right? It's just let me get everything out of my head, and then I'll start compartmentalizing and organizing that. But a few years ago, somebody was like, just try these, like, just answer these 3 questions. Cause I think that's what I was struggling with, of like, like, what am I journaling about other than, brain dumping? I'm just organizing my day, my week, my month, or whatever, and relieving the anxiety that builds up from being too much in your head. But I started doing this. I just answer 3 questions at night, and it is what brought you joy today. What is giving you angst, like just any kind of anxiety or like stress. Like, are you upset about a meeting that you didn't like how it went? Or are you worried about something tomorrow or something? But whatever's bringing you angst, like, just write it down. And the third is, what do you look forward to tomorrow? And just those 3 things. Like, I remember when I started this 3 or 4 years ago, I struggled with what to answer even the first question. Like, what brought me joy? I mean, I had to dig.
It's
nothing
hard.
fucking brought me joy. God, like, it's been a shit show.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I find that is like, what didn't bring me joy today? Well, and it's just like, I think you said, it forces your brain to stop and then the other rewire it.
Yeah, the other thing it does too is you think about your thinking, and most of the time we don't think about our thinking, and so it's huge.
Yes, Ron, we do. We bring you joy every day.
Yeah, the wonderful hosts of the show bring me joy, and of course our viewers. Yeah. I mean, the viewers and the joy and it brings all the things. So but anyway, so moving along, we get to learn about happy little trees. So this is, are these baby little trees?
I'm a pop culture nut, right? So when I see trees or any topic, and I'm like, what are the famous trees that are in literature and movies and the stories that we hear about trees? So one of the most favorite is in pop culture, Bob Ross, and his let's make some happy little
Happy little
trees.
trees.
Happy little trees. Which I was so excited that Ron got the reference.
Oh, that's awesome.
Of the happy little trees. But you know the bit like the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter.
Oh, uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, or the philosophical tree of souls in Avatar.
Oh. Yeah.
Which does have, you know, so much. I know that's just it's. I don't know if you watch Avatar or whatever. It's the Tree of Souls, but they also that whole the movie. It just talks about how the roots of the tree and just nature, how they talk to each other.
Yep.
And you know, there is a real what's called the wood wide web.
Oh yeah.
That is real, and it discusses the real science behind how trees communicate with each other.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the basis. That was one of the inspirational points for the Tree of Souls in Avatar. Was that it's a real science phenomenon of how trees communicate through, like, weather related things, or if there's, you know, something, how they move, how they whistle, how they bend and crack, and then the roots, how they vibrate, they will start talking to each other. And there's not, like, if there's a disease like coming in that is, you know, that will hurt the tree, they will try to do survivor things that they, you know, getting like the bees involved and the bird, like the hummingbirds and all of that. So the wood wide web is a real thing.
Yeah.
But that's what, like I said, inspired the Tree of Souls from Avatar. Or, you know, I think one of the most famous, besides Bob Ross's Happy Little Trees, is the apple orchard not the apple orchard, the Giving Tree. Shel Silvers with the Giving Tree, and how, you know, that's all about being selfless and building your community, and the metaphor around how trees give, and, you know, they build roots, but they also grow in order to, you know, to shade. And so you're, you know, so some of, I think, are the framers of our country kind of had that enlightened mindset of our trees are shady. They are, but you should, your goals in life should be to plant seeds, develop roots, and grow and build, you know, and build something tall enough and shady enough that other people sit in. On trees, you will never, ever be able, that you yourself will never be able to enjoy the shade.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
no,
what the whole, you know, Giving Tree was about. Or the other tree, of the famous tree that is Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Yes.
You know, you gotta love Groot. If you don't, I think he's one of the best.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the best characters.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, though, in the movie, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh yeah. I love Groot. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, and in the making of the movie, and it's the same thing with Darth, you know, Darth Vader and the Wookiee, but he would actually, there was the actor would say the lines of whatever he was really, the translation, so the other actors could play off of him. So it's so fun to watch kind of the behind and then they just dubbed his voice out and then redubbed it with "I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot." But when they filmed it, he was actually saying, you know, back off, like, or I want to go to the mall. He was saying the real, whatever the lines were. And they just redubbed it with "I am Groot." Same thing within Star Wars. The Wookiee, Chewbacca, when they made it, it was an actor that was in the costume would say the lines, and then they dubbed it out and did the voiceover of just the Chewbacca growl.
Cool.
So it was so that the actors knew what they were responding to.
Yeah.
But Groot, and then of course the apple orchard is the other famous tree in the Wizard of Oz, which was that's another one, or the Trufala trees in the Lorax.
Oh, yeah.
Tree beard.
Yeah. Wow, that's
So
super
those are the Lord. Oh, I forgot. Treebeard, the Lord of the Ring. I forgot.
Oh,
about that. Yeah. Or the in the labyrinth, the tree in the labyrinth, that was a tree villain. Or the tree that turned into whatever that got possessed in Poltergeist. The iconic Charlie Brown Christmas tree. I mean, with the one bulb, that's iconic, symbolizing beauty in the most imperfection. Or the Tree of Life in The Lion King.
Yes.
Oh, I need to see Ron's top 5 from yesterday.
Top 5 from yesterday.
Did this all hit it? Well,
well, it's okay. We doubled down. We doubled down here.
It's pop culture trees. For Tree Week. Yeah. And then you talked about Lord of the Ring. It was the Ents, the ENTS, the Ents. They're the trees that talk to each other.
Oh. Yeah.
Again, the Wood Wide Web.
The Wood Wide Web. Yeah.
Wood Wide Web.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So trees did symbolize a lot, but they all had a purpose in the story. To your point, Kyle, of like it was all the metaphor of finding your roots in order to be able to grow and shine and provide shade for others, right?
Yeah, because if we don't grow below the surface, below what everyone else sees, then it's very hard to hold whatever you build the structure. This is with buildings and everything else. I mean, if you look at the big buildings, it's the same way. They have to go way down into the earth to build a good solid foundation. And
that's what the Avatar, the Tree of Souls was. When you laid under it and you would dream, it would uncover your truest self. And so that was a lot of good metaphors for trees.
Yeah. And trees are awesome. It's like, they're super, super amazing. But that's learned some other new stuff. And so everybody follow us everywhere. I know you're watching us live on all the different platforms that we're live. We're also after the fact listening to us, on podcasts, and then we're on all the social media. So go follow us, show us some love, give a like on something and follow the page. And now
Kyle, I have one more. I just looked at my celebrity trees. Pando. This is in Fish Lake National Forest in Utah. So the tree is named Pando. But this is known as the trembling giant because it's a clonal colony of 47,000 genetically identical quaking aspens, all connected by a single root system.
Yep.
I need to go see that.
Yeah, I do too. I have not seen that either. And I'm right next to Utah.
I was like, you need to go to that one. That needs to be the first one on your list.
Yeah.
So sorry. I just saw that.
No,
stop it, Ron.
Super awesome.
Stop it, Ron.
Today's show.
I already talked about that, JJ.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Well, it was. I think it was Luana talk. I'm sure she talked about all kinds of stuff. So I was like, "What do I talk
Yeah.
about here that Luana hasn't talked about?" Which I
I
don't
was
know.
thinking pop
You
culture.
know?
Nobody would talk about that, or celebrity trees.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Ron
I
probably.
tried.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, validation. This is. I mean, this one is super fun. I'll call myself out here because boy, you know, the thing with doing work on yourself, there's
Mm.
always more to do, and there's always more to discover. I mean, it's a never
It's a
end.
never-ending pool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this isn't about parking.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. But so, you know, external versus internal validation.
Mm.
And one of the things that I rooted out and discovered that I was struggling with was still in ways looking for external validation. And
Mm.
and I think
Well,
with
I think that all comes from like we want to be a pleaser. We want to get approval.
Yeah, well, and for people pleasers for sure. I mean, if there's that, yeah, that tendency, and I've worked through, because I'm guilty. I was the nice guy. I would say that I am very much and continually less so the nice guy. I would say I'm probably not the nice guy anymore. But I am kind, and
There's a
sometimes
difference.
there's a
There's
big
a
difference.
difference.
Yeah, yeah. So, but what I rooted out and discovered was that there were ways that I was still looking for external validation in different things that I do. And it's kind of, it's a hard thing when when you put content out all the time, all over social media and everywhere else. Yeah, no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Right.
Yeah, and also that is a really good book too. If you're struggling with being a nice guy, I highly recommend that book as well. Um, so not just the song. Yeah, the song's great too, but but the book is also really good. But yeah, I rooted out that I was still looking for in some ways, and I think with all personal growth, everything is extremely subtle, and and it is at every single level. So in the beginning, it might be much more obvious when we see whatever it is that we're struggling with or working through. But then the more that we grow, the more healthy we are in ourselves, the more subtle all of those things. And so that was one of the things that I was looking at, is looking for the external validation, which was holding me back in many ways in my business and in my life. Whereas there a B in subtle? Because it's subtle. It's subtle. It's the subtle B. That's part of the deal of subtle, it's not subtlety, it's subtle B. But anyway, uh, and I think, we don't. I think some people will reject external validation, because I don't want to rely on others for me validating myself.
Hmm.
And I think that is not healthy either. It's not. This isn't a one side or the other, all or nothing. And there's a lot of thinking in that way in the world, where it's all this way or it's not.
Yeah.
And most all of everything in life is not that way. And so I think it is important to acknowledge and embrace, when somebody's like, hey, you're really awesome, and I appreciate that you did that, and or something about your character, who you are being, I guess, in a lot of ways. And that external validation is good for us to accept and embrace. But also at the same time, we don't want to rely completely on that. And it goes on both sides, because if we're looking at the external validation, then if somebody tells you you're the best, then, oh my gosh, wow, I must be the best. But then also, if somebody tells you you're the worst, if you're relying completely on external validation, then you're, depending on what everyone is saying to you or about you, or any of that, then you're going to ride this roller coaster rather than having the internal validation of yourself and who you are and what you're doing in whatever area that is. And I think also it's much easier for us to accept the external validation when we are validating ourselves.
Yeah.
And because it's like, when we reject the things that don't match with the paradigm that we have of ourselves. And so if somebody says you're so awesome and you're so nice, if you don't have that belief that you are awesome and nice or kind, or however you want to say that, whatever the circumstance is, then you'll reject when they say that, or you'll pass it off as, oh, well, I was just doing this.
Right.
There will be an excuse or a justification as far as why you were being that way. Kind is greater than nice is.
Yeah.
And it's so much
but
better.
It's hard, because you have to be, but I always look at it as like, being candid is kind, because you're doing somebody a service by giving them the feedback.
Yep.
And feedback is sometimes constructive, and sometimes it's positive, but you just have to look at it as it's a data point.
Yeah. I love Gary Vaynerchuk, which you know Gary?
I know Gary. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I follow his stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah. He talks about kind candor in his company, and I think he's one of the great examples of somebody that has and continues to build business where he's incredibly kind, and he's like, you can build a business on honey rather than vinegar.
Oh.
And
well, I think that's what we're seeing in the business community, especially of younger, like the millennial owners and stuff, they don't want to have a fear-based culture.
Yeah.
And also studies have shown that fear-based cultures of control and dictation and you'll know when you know, or we're just going to tell you what to do. Those are not productive cultures, and they won't survive into the next workforce kind of evolution that we're seeing with AI. And so we're seeing more of the play of, we need to be creating play-like cultures, creative cultures, innovative cultures, where it is about, we need to give each other feedback. We need to be collaborative. We've got to be, we're not just taking orders. For us to find value as humans in this next, era, it's got to be, we have to be thinkers. So otherwise it's like, and some people find comfort in some of those workplace cultures because they don't want to think. But we're trying to, like, there's a movement of business community going, but we need to bring you along. Like, if you're just doing tasks, AI will take that. That's a job AI will take.
Yeah.
If you're just doing tasks and using your brain, like it's like the three levels of kind of workers. Either you're just using your hands, like I'm just pushing the button, well, AI or technology will take that, right? If you're more the level of a craftsman, of you're using your hands and your brain, well, that also is being taken by AI, right? That's the movement. But where AI and technology, right, like can't take away, is if you're more of an artist mode of you use both your hands, your brain, and your heart, because technology can't take away judgment. can't take away, connection, relationship building,
discernment.
Yeah. That is not, even as smart as it can go, you still need the humanity and the human mode, because AI and other technology will take the other two modes of workers. And so we need to, so we're trying to train our teams, our client teams of, you need to show your value by not just doing the work, but going, what's the outcome of that work?
Yeah.
How am I impacting somebody else in that work?
We're integrating.
And going, I'm not just trying to check off the list. I'm trying to go, did this activity produce an outcome that was positive?
Yeah.
And that's a way that's very different of how a lot of people think.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of discomfort in workplaces. Fear comes up. And this is where we're like, okay, if you're having discomfort around that, you might need some therapy and some counseling and some coaching.
Yeah. I think we all do. And I think that it makes everything better in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, back around to validation. So we need the validation as a human by our loved ones. And I think there's truth in that. But once again, if we are not loving ourselves, if we're not caring for ourselves, then it's easy for us to push off or bypass or reject the love coming from other people.
Right.
And this is the balance, and I feel like, the internal validation is like the root structure of who we are. And then it gives us the capability to take the external validation and to accept it and to embrace it, in the places where it's right. And this is, this is another boundary thing where where maybe you put up the boundary and you're like, no, I realize that's external validation, but that doesn't fit with who I am. And so I'm not going to take that on.
Yeah.
And all of these things are subtle and nuanced, which makes it, it makes it that much harder to really work through and figure out for ourselves. And it's a continual process, forever. We're either growing or we're dying.
Right.
And so anyway, but good stuff. So where can everybody find you, JJ?
So people can find me easiest either on LinkedIn. I'm very active there, but the best place is go to our YouTube channel at Hello Chaos Podcast and subscribe, and you will see a ton of founder stories, business insights, and tips. Or you can go to gobrightnow.com is another way to find me. Yeah.
Very awesome. Very awesome. You can find me at KyleMillerCoaching.com or at Kyle Miller Coaching on all the platforms. And and then Saturday we have Lana and Kenny, and that's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 8 a.m. Mountain Time in the right time zone. But you're Eastern time too, aren't you?
We're Eastern. I always have to go back Mountain Time because it's either I know the coasts because I do so much work in the on the California side. It's the Central and Mountain, and I'm like, what's the time difference?
Yeah, it's good. But great show today. Thank you for being on with me, JJ.
Thank you. It was good to talk with you.
Yeah, you too.
Share our philosophies.
Yeah. Talk about all the things for at least a little bit here. So, but anyway, hope everybody else enjoyed. Thanks for Danny and Hugo and everyone else that joined in and
Ron.
And Ron, of course, behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons. He's our button pusher. So
literally
anyway.
and figuratively.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Thanks JJ. Hope everybody
Thank
has
you.
a wonderful rest of your day.